Disclaimer.
Hey, what's up, internet peoples? It's me, DERREK BREINDEL, and I'm here to bring some realness to this dumpy little YouTube channel. You know, with the release of that new Batman's movie, it got me thinking, man, it got me thinking. What are the greatest superhero movies ever made of all time? Now, I know that Greg guy, he likes to keep things a little artsy-fartsy around here. But not me, man, I don't buy into what the critics say. I don't buy into the Hollywood BS. I'm all about backing up my truths with facts and logic. So, without further ado, here are the objective and undeniable top 10 greatest superhero movies ever made of all time. Alright, so squeaking in at my number 10 spot, we gotta start off with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. Now I know that's a bit of a controversial number 10 spot, but the facts don't lie. We all know that the suits meddle with the script a bit, and they made poor Sammy add venom to the movie, and he's an epic character, man, he's an epic character. But that's why all the critics call this movie messy. They all say this flick had too many villains, quote unquote, but I think they're wrong and they're stupid and they can't handle the epicness of this movie. The critics don't get why they put Venom in this movie, man. You know what? He's there for the fans of Spider-Man. That's the reason Venom's there, and he's epic. In fact, I think the movie needed more Venom and more Sandman. And I'm pretty neutral on that new Green Goblin, except for the part where James Franco eats shit and almost dies. I thought that thing was funny as shit, man. It was funny as shit. And a lot of people complain about emo Peter. But I like that scene, I'm not even gonna lie. I like that scene. And no, it's not because he publicly beats the shit out of that bitch Mary Jane. I'm not some sick degenerate. I'm a normal dude who likes that scene because of the infidelity. And you know what? I do like the dance scene, I'll admit it. I think it shows that Peter Parker is tired of being a self-conscious geeky nerd, and he finally stops caring what other people think about him. And more people could use that lesson, especially today, man. You can't let people tell you how to think about yourself. I'm sure a lot of you folks probably don't like hearing these objective facts, but look at this baby. The fact that this dance has been picked up by the newest generation shows it is an objectively good scene because it speaks to people, and it is worthy of the number 10 spot on this list. Alright, at the number 9 spot, we gotta give it to yet another controversial pick, with M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. Being a sequel to two of the greatest comic book movies ever made, Unbreakable and Split, already bumps this movie up into the ranking system, because I always want more of my favorite movies, especially if they're set in Philly, the second greatest city in the world, only second to my hometown of Boston. The critics call this movie trash, because they say that it's long, and it's boring, and it's confusing, and they spend too much time in that mental hospital, and they don't explain if the superpowers are real or fake, and the Illuminati subplot, that doesn't get elaborated on, and they say that the performances are stilted, and the music ain't memorable, and that all the characters act dumber than my good-for-nothing stepson Bradley. But you know what? Samuel L. Jackson's in it, so I think all those sins can be forgiven, and it can fit right here at the number 9 spot on this list. Okay, so for my number 8 spot, we gotta give it to the black sheep of the DC Cinematic Universe. You know it, you love it, let me hear you say it, the Green Lantern. This is one of the most accurate comic book movies ever made, and that makes it objectively good by comparison. It was a passion project of the most attractive man in the world, Ryan Reynolds, and you can tell, because this story is gripping, and it is full of action and lore. I especially love the CGI superhero suit, which is green, my favorite color, just like the Green Lantern. You see how they link the suit color to the name of the movie? That's called foreshadowing. That's that shit the smart people do. And as we all know, the only thing keeping us from getting a part 2 to this amazing movie is a lack of funding, which is why Ryan had to go and make those stupid-ass Deadpool movies made for goo-goo gaga little babies. But hopefully he makes enough money to fund his dream project and prove the haters wrong with Green Lantern 2. And for that, Green Lantern gets my number 8 spot. Alright, the kitty gloves are coming off, folks. We're getting in the real nitty gritty with my number 7 pick, the original Suicide Squad movie. No, I ain't talking about that ridiculous remake made by that talking raccoon guy. Well, what is this? The 1930s? We gonna remake any movie that's more than 30 years old now? Get the hell out of here. We're talking about the OG, the realness. No polka dot man, none of this Shark Boy and Peacemaker, nah. We're talking Slipknot. We're talking Katana. We're talking Jared Leto sending dead pics to his co-stars because he's getting lost in the role, man. He's going crazy for this. Just like the amazing Heath Ledger, who died because he was playing the Joker and it killed him. And he played that role so good, he never starred in any movie afterwards ever again. The Dark Knight was it. Ew, get that off the screen right now, you piece of shit. I know some of you folks lack the IQ to understand the majesty of the original Suicide Squad, the craftsmanship that went into it, cause the critics told you lies. Well, that just means I'm built different, man. I'm built different. It means that I can see through the Hollywood BS pushed by those critics looking for stuff like well-written characters and a cohesive story. I thought what made a movie good was that avant-garde stuff. I knew this movie was gonna be epic because the first trailer matched the footage to the music from Bohemian Rhapsody. That's how you know a movie's gonna be good. Cause it's a song you don't expect to be used for a movie about crazy serial killer villains and stuff. And that's how you know it's gonna be like subversive and stuff. And that's what makes a movie good, it's being subversive. I learned that in film school. And if that's not good enough for you, Harley Quinn, she's attractive. And if Margot Robbie giving someone a chub is enough to win Suicide Squad an Oscar for best makeup and hairstyling, then who am I to argue with the Academy? Clearly that means the original Suicide Squad is good enough to make my top 10, and if you disagree, I'm sorry, man, but them's the facts. At the number 6 spot, we gotta give it to an underrated gem from DC, the one and the only Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. This cult classic was one of the original superhero movies, alongside Tim Burton's Batman and those old Superman and Supergirl movies, and no offense to those flicks, man, but this one's better. Shaq gives a career-defining performance while dressed up like a cooler RoboCop. And honestly, by the end of this movie, you'll wish that Shaq was your dad, because he's just so cool. Now some of yous might be saying, but Steel bombed at the box office. It only made 1/10 of its money, therefore it's not a good movie because nobody saw it. You know what else bombed at the box office and no one saw in the theaters? Fight Club. And that's a movie even the film nerds think is a great movie. Cope with the weight of my facts and logic, losers. I rest my case. And oh, you know what? Because Shaq doesn't get enough credit, I'm gonna give my number 5 spot to Kazam. Yet another great performance from Shaq, using the power of rap to brighten up the life of a little boy who gets bullied in school and whose dad doesn't love him, man. That's tragic. It's a movie that shows the power of music and also the power of love, which is the greatest superpower a hero can have. It's yet another reason I want Shaq to be my dad. Shaq, please, go back to making movies. Your talent is sorely lacking in Hollywood, and I will pay anything to see you in a remake of Jingle All the Way. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because I could talk about Shaq forever. We are quickly running out of room on this list, so for the number 4 spot, I want to give something for you artsy-fartsy film nerds to chew on. And I can think of no better superhero movie to do that than Catwoman, starring Halle Berry. It's a very unique movie which rewrites the Catwoman's origin story to include cat burps and basketball. But it's still dramatic and has high stakes thanks to Halle Berry's crippling addiction to catnip. She even won some award I've never heard of before for her performance, and I know that you film geeks love that stuff. You eat it up, especially if it's French. So clearly, Catwoman is a very underrated superhero movie and worthy of being called the 4th greatest superhero flick ever made. Alright, it's time for the big time. The top 3. At the number 3 spot on this list, we've got The Crow, City of Angels. Now don't get me wrong, The Crow, the original, is a classic edgy superhero flick that truly embodies the vibes of the 90s, as the kids might say. But the often forgotten sequel, City of Angels, takes those ideas from the original movie and expands on them by being the exact same flick as the first one. And I always want more from my favorite movies. That's called foreshadowing. Plus, this flick works as an amazing gateway to a whole trilogy of sequels to The Crow that you have probably never heard of, but would make Brandon Lee proud. Rest in peace, man. This is for you, the number 3 spot to Crow, City of Angels. At the number 2 spot, we got 4 heroes for the price of 1, and one of the all-time greats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. This movie's got it all. It has action, it has masks from the Chuck E. Cheese reject bin, there's time skips, and even time travel, like in Back to the Future, one of my favorite movies. And also the heroes are green, but with accent colors, which helps their greenness pop. You can't ask for more than that, folks. But honestly, the only reason this movie is a number 1 is because the previous movie in this saga, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, had the subtitle The Secret of the Ooze. And I think the lack of a subtitle for this third and final entry in this trilogy shows that the writers are missing that secret sauce to make this the ultimate superhero movie. Even though it falls short, it is still an amazing flick about the half-shell heroes, and if you haven't watched it yet, you've gotta see it, cause it's the second greatest superhero movie ever made. And now, we are at the top of the list, folks, and this has been a truly amazing journey to take with you, exposing to you the truths about the superhero movies that those critics don't want you to know. And I want to make this extra special for all of you that have made it this far in this journey with me. So, before we get to my number 1 spot on this list, I'd like to give some honorable mentions for this list. First and foremost, an honorable mention has to go to The Jungle Book. Now, yous might be thinking to yourself, "Yo, Derek, The Jungle Book's not a superhero movie." To which I'd like to ask you, have you actually seen The Jungle Book? Because I saw the posters, and I saw those 3D stand-ups they put at the theaters for the kids to rip up with their snotty little fingers, but I have not yet met one person who has seen this movie. And Disney's been making a lot of those superhero movies lately, so it's totally possible that The Jungle Book is a superhero movie. And it might be good. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But if yous have seen that movie, yous gotta drop a comment down below and tell us if it's a great superhero movie, because I might have to amend this list. I also want to give a shout out to a film called The Green Knight. I have no idea what this movie's about, but if I had to guess, it sounds like a remake of The Dark Knight, but green. And that sounds cool, I guess. And I would like to give a final honorable mention to a little movie called Dick Tracy. Based on the Sunday morning comic book strip of the same name, this movie is still one of the most highly regarded comic book films ever made, with 7 nominations and 3, count 'em 3, Oscars under its belt. The only other comic book movie to ever reach this level of critical acclaim was The Black Panther, and it took a long time for that to happen. The only reason that Dick Tracy is not part of this top 10 is because while the film is in fact a comic book movie, it is not, I say it is not, about superheroes. It's more like a detective movie where the gangsters look like herpes, and while I guess that's cool, it's not about superheroes. So, in the alternate universe, where Dick Tracy is, in fact, a superhero, I guess hypothetically, this would have made the list. But as it stands, all I can do is give it this honorable mention. These movies would have made the list if I had more slots, but I don't like counting past 10. And for the number one pick of the greatest superhero movie ever made, it is time to name a film that is so magnificent, so spectacular, so undeniably great that all I gotta do is say the title of this flick, and you'll know that there's no other choice for the number one spot, man. This is no contest. The number one greatest superhero movie ever made is Son of the Mask. Alright, folks, that's it for the objective and undeniable top 10 greatest superhero movies ever made, as backed up with facts and logic. So, I want you folks to tell me in the comment section how right I was, and drop a like, and also subscribe or something. Have yourselves a happy April. I guess I'll upload another video here the next time that Greg leaves his dumpy little YouTube channel open on the company computer. Alright, take care, bye-bye.